I'm gonna end up September with a cigar smoking and buck knife video. About 3 segments. I'm gonna see if I can break this cigar smoking video down to 3 sections, first, second, and third. The first third, second third, and the final third of the Oliva Serie V cigar I've got here, the Melania, the Melania Oliva Serie V cigar. And that'll pretty much end my cigar video making for a little while here. I like them, but they're budget-wise, I gotta watch it. Plus, I get kind of a silly rush from the nicotine of a cigar. I don't inhale, of course, but cigars are pretty powerful. And they make you feel real good, but that can be overstimulating in a way. We'll go over it. I've got buck 110s to look at, a onset 040, a buck onset 040, and 2 small fixed plates I'll be talking about as I smoke my cigar. So we'll see how this goes. I'll get the cigar prepped up and lit, and we'll see how it ends up. I got a small little bit of Jack Daniels in my butt cup, and we'll see how we progress here. Back with you in a minute. We were successful lighting, pretty even all the way around. I've had been watching some cigar tutorials on YouTube channels, and the initial flame treatment of the smoking end, burning end of the cigar is critical for the burn. The better you get that started, actually flavor-wise also, and you not have to puff on it like a locomotive to get it churning. I've got it here. Salty flavor to the wrapping. Smooth in the beginning. The last one I smoked was an Oliva Serie O, and it was pretty charry, kind of bitter right from the get-go. This one not so much. It's a longer cigar, so you got less heat build up on the kind of like a tobacco filtering system through there. When I was quite young, probably very early 20s, trying to impress my fellow welding mates, we'd sit down and have a cigar. I don't know what they were. They were cheap. Whatever I don't know what they were. Somebody got a box of them. We'd sit down with beer and smoke cigars and inhale, of course, and get sick. Blame it on the booze, but it was the nicotine. And too much booze. Young man drinking. That's another thing about this, my lifestyle easing into it. I'm backing off heavily on the amount of alcohol I consume. But I do like to relax with a good ale and maybe a little whiskey every now and then. But can't, especially if you're working, you don't want to be drinking a lot. And I never got into smoking cigarettes, thank God. My parents did. Probably why I stunted my growth, because my folks smoked. We won't worry about that. I like the way that ash is going on it. I'll get around to these knives in a minute. But right now we're just seeing how we get the Oliva Serie V Melania cigars going. Smoothest one so far. Also the most expensive. I think this was near to $19 plus tax at the cigar shop, which isn't much. I know. I looked at the prices. A little scary, kind of. You can spend on a cigar for about 20 minutes worth of enjoyment. Your mucus glands and saliva pick up the nicotine when you smoke a cigar instead of your lungs. I mean, it's still hazardous for your health to smoke, but so is welding for a living, and most of the things I did in my life, chemistry, chemicals, whatever I was exposed to, welding on pipelines and oil, and I don't know when the warning signs came out, but I was around the warning signs most of my life with my job. I got shocked a lot. Welding on a rainy day, and initially getting at DC arcs. I mean, when it's really raining and you're in the dirt or on the concrete pad or on board ship, at first strike, it bites. That can't be good for you. But so's starving to death and not working. And so there's some challenges in life, and this is kind of relaxing and fun. Knives are fun. Oh, finished talking to a guy about, by far, the Buck 110, I've cut myself the most with these knives. It's not handling the blade on closing is the main thing. It's not respecting the speed at which that blade snaps back into the body of the knife. Yeah, Band-Aid Central. The big knives. Fixed blades, not so much. Almost always it's a folding blade that'll bite me. But that's not the point, is it? It's enjoying the knives. I've got a couple of really neat drop point 110s, nickel silver, and then the classic 110 clip point, which is cool. And to the 110s, I had a little technical problem. The 110s are neat because they can one hand open pretty easily. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's something to do with the weight of the handle to the blade. Not a whole lot of knives have that. I had a big funky folding knife that would whip out pretty fast, but it also, if it was sweaty or wet hands or whatever, you'd let that thing go flying off in your hand. But I wanted to point out something that a fellow knife nut noticed about my 110 collection, specifically my two nickel silver drop point 110s. Notice that I've got a Buck 110 and S30V that has a nail neck, thumb opening neck, and the 110 Hunter has the nail neck. But the 110 drop point nickel silver in 428C steel has no nail neck for opening. That ash is working away there. But I don't know why they discriminated about that. But it's something to notice. The yeah, it has no. I don't really think it changes anything because there's a defined edge right on the top of the blade that allows for easy access to open. So it really doesn't need that little notch in there on that big blade. But it is something to notice that why this particular nickel silver custom design drop point would not have the nail neck. Maybe one of you knife nuts, buck knife nuts, knows why they don't have that. But that's something. Not a big deal. It's a study in buck knife design. The other buck knife I have that I really like, I'm not really going to say much about the two small fixed blades I have other than this particular buck number, the 684 I'm using for a Fixie for 5-day challenge that HTZDC put out there yesterday. Coming up on the 3rd day tomorrow, using that knife every day for something that I'd normally use my regular carry knife for. There we get the. I like the pouch they have, the Buck 040 onset. This knife will bite you too. I mean, they set it up kind of neat. When you close it, the frame lock, you can stop the speed at which it drops back by holding on the flipper, stop it on the flipper on the inside, and then hand close it. If you're not paying attention, that blade can swing all the way back down, hit you on the top of the knuckle, which will give you a Band-Aid experience. Yeah, the 040 onset is another one of my really fun buck knives that I'm really grateful to have. Working on that ash. First third will be done in a minute and I'll move on to something else, but yeah, smoking cigars and enjoying knives. I also wanted to take a little sip off camera. Wet the palate. Wet the palate with a little Jack Daniels when you're smoking a cigar. That's good for you. Good for me. Yeah, the ash fell off somewhere in there. Starting off in the next bit. Then we take a knife and, oh yeah, surgical procedure on the cigar with a S45V blade from the Buck 040 onset. Flavor hadn't changed, but still really quite salty flavor from the wrapping. Some of these cigar aficionados can taste caramel and a little oak blend, and maybe the sweat from the person that wrapped the cigar. The guy had some axle grease on his hands, whatever it is. They real flavor hounds, they can pull it all out. I'm not that good at this. I do like a cigar though. But like I said, the nicotine rush, I forget what they said, a cigarette can give you about 10 to 20 milligrams of nicotine when you smoke it. But you get the full feel of those 10 or so milligrams of nicotine because you process them through your lungs. A cigar has 10 times that, maybe more, maybe 400 milligrams of nicotine in the process. But since you don't inhale a cigar if you're sane, so you don't get that massive nicotine rush go through you, make you calculate a rocket ship engine or something like that while you're sitting at your engineer's table, talking Einstein back in the days, or figuring out all the psychological disorders. Freud smoked a lot of cigars. I think he thought real heavy on nicotine every now and then. Always talking about generals and everybody smoking, making stuff happen. But then again, this vice, like any other, if used to excess, has its downside to it. All those, Sigmund Freud died of mouth and throat cancer, Ulysses S. Grant, all the heavy smokers, cigar smokers, guys that lived with the cigar. It probably wasn't just that killed them, but it doesn't help to have a continued vice operating in your system. It's the funny part about enjoying things in life, isn't it? Enjoyment is good, over-enjoyment, not so good. And playing with knives too hard when you've been drinking, not so good, right? But I do keep Band-Aids, so that's not bad. I won't digress too much. I'm going to switch over to my fixed blades here for a second. Back with you in a second. All right, I ended up showing off my 662 Skinner and my 684 Value Series. I think it's called the Bucklight. Excellent EDC knife. The 662 is a good EDC knife too, but it's pretty much specific to hunting purposes. I'm using the 6.8 here for my Fixie for 5 challenge from HTZDC. I'll finish that up over a couple of more videos during the week. But this is pretty much for the evening. I got my Ash Excellent on the second third of my Oliva Serie V. Enjoying it big time. But it's a little bit more cigar than I can handle. Enjoying it. Ash is starting to sag precariously there. I like that. Oliva Serie V Melania. Enjoyable. God bless all you knife nuts. Take care. Remember that Jesus loves you.